is your reading comprehension. You should know how to read and identify the key information from it. Once you have identified that, you have to evaluate and draw conclusions. Depending upon that, you have to notice that whatever is the key information, I am keeping an eye on that. So basically, attention to detail is extremely important. Now, in order to develop these skills, you have to follow certain strategies. Now, what are the strategies what we need for these verbal reasoning success? Number one, you don't have to read the entire thing because time is extremely important. So skimming and scanning. Quickly identify the key information and make ideas from the passage. Focus on the understanding part and whatever the overall message it is trying to give you. And finally, elimination technique. Narrow down the answer choices by eliminating the most obvious incorrect options. So keep these three things in mind, and you will be able to answer those questions quickly, promptly, and correctly. Now, what sort of questions are there in the number one questions? What you will find over there will be the true and false questions. Now, some passages, they will have a question which will have three options: true, false, or can't tell. Now, from these three answer options, you have to ensure that you base your choice on the information which is given in the passage. Please mind it, not to make unjustified assumptions. Don't assume that while I was reading this passage, I think the paragraph says that. No, look for the information over there. The second kind of questions, what you'll find over there will be the incomplete statement questions. Now, they're not written as questions. You're given a statement and there are four answers. Now, what you have to find out, you have to find out the most appropriate answer that would best finish the statement based on the information you have been given in the passage. Don't assume again. The third type of questions will be according to the passage questions. Now, what happens in these kind of questions? You will be given a statement and you will be asked to choose which of the four options is best supported by the passage. Now, the answer options can be quietly lengthy. So it will not be a one line, it could be quite lengthy. So read the question carefully and answer based solely on the information given in the passage. Don't be influenced by any prior knowledge or opinion. The fourth type of question would be the accept questions. Now, accept questions, you can weigh up to the evidence to reach a conclusion. You would find the most appropriate answer based on the information given in the passage. Again, the key word is not to use any prior information. Lastly, there will be most likely kind of questions. Now, most likely questions are again the questions where you need to weigh up the evidence why this is there to reach out to your conclusion. They're also presented with four options, but there is only one correct answer. However, the choice may appear less definite and a little more speculative. So be very, very mindful of what you are choosing. Now, common mistakes what students they normally do while answering these kind of questions. They rush. So the key word is don't rush. Read the passage carefully and comprehend the information from there. Don't overlook for the details, because if you miss the important facts, then it might result in incorrect answer. And the most common mistakes what students do is overthink. They keep thinking and overanalyzing and then get caught up in that complex reasoning when the simple answer is simply in front of them. And as Kaustav mentioned, time management. Struggling to maintain a steady pace and complete all the questions within this given time is a major issue with most of the students. They know the answer, but it's just that they're spending too much time on one question. So please time your question carefully. 28 seconds and not more than that. Now, the next aspect of questions is the non-cognitive ones, which is basically the situational judgment test. Now, normally, whatever content we study, we all know our content, but we don't know how to react in a situation wherein something has not been taught to us, basically a non-cognitive things. So this situational judgment test will prepare us for that non-judgmental situations. Now, this is a test where we normally test the soft skills that are not objectively measured. Now, these skills include the interpersonal skills, your persistence, your communication skills, and interpersonal skills, decision-making skills. So these kind of tests, they help you to understand how emotionally mature you are, what kind of an empathy you have, and how you can handle a particular situation. So basically, the behavior of a person. It's very important that we have to have these qualities in us. We have to ensure that we are resilient, we have integrity, we involve the team, we have some kind of a perspective about the situation, and we can adapt easily. Now, as far as the question pattern of this is concerned, there will be 69 questions, and you have only 26 minutes. So less than 28 seconds, which is only 22 seconds for each question. You'll be given various scenarios, but each scenario will have at least 6 questions associated with it. You do not need to have any kind of a prior knowledge for that. So you just have to read the situation, what it is, and then answer the questions accordingly. As far as the scoring is concerned, you will be given full marks for answering the right question, but there will be partial marks for the next appropriate answer for that one. Now, there will be 2 kinds of questions in that. Number 1, you have to rate the importance or appropriateness of a series of statements in response to a particular scenario. And the second will be ranking the appropriateness of these situations. For example, now, when it is about the important kind of questions, while considering the importance, there will be 4 different options given to you. Very important. That means if this is something that is extremely vital to take into account, you cannot ignore that. The second will be important. It is important, but not that vital to take into account. The third, minor importance. That means it is something that could be taken into account, but it doesn't matter if it is not considered or not. And not important at all. That means it is definitely not to be taken into account. For example, a situation like that, where you have to read the passage, look for the question that how important it is to take into situation. So very important, important, minor importance, and not important at all. The second kind of questions are the most and the least appropriate actions. So you have to rank the answers in terms of the appropriateness. Now, these kind of questions will come with a drag and drop function like this. So you will have to look at the passage, read, and there will be 3 options given down. Now, among these 3 options, you'll have to choose which is the most appropriate one and drag it up to that column, and the least appropriate to that. Now, the scoring of this is completely different from the other cognitive tests. As far as the scoring of the SJT is concerned, you have to, there are 2 kinds of responses. For example, you will be given full marks if you choose the correct answer. There will be partial marks for something which is close to the correct answer, but there will be no marks if the response is completely different from the correct answer. Now, these kind of scores, what you get, we call them as raw scores. Now, these raw scores are then summed to produce a total raw score. And then you have to convert that into the banding square, which looks something like that. Band 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, these bands, they are determined by aggregating the raw scores from the candidate's response, and then they convert these total into the bands through a combination of many kind of statistical analysis and the expert review to ensure that they are accurately reflect the different levels of the judgmental appropriateness of the students. As I mentioned, that how do we decide? We decide by setting the cut scores, expert reviews, calibration. And what's the key? The key again is practice, practice, and practice. Consistently practicing the verbal reasoning skills and the situational judgment test will help you to get successful in any kind of exam, be it cognitive or non-cognitive. Of course, timing. Ensure that you time your questions. Practice diverse kind of questions. Look at the feedback. Work on your feedback. Look at the reviews. And then again, work on those feedback and practice again. So good luck, guys. And I wish you all the best. And I hope I'm speaking to all the future doctors. Good luck. Over to Sukanya.